Welcome back. Over the course of the lockdown, there are many citizens who have stepped up to help those in need. Many have provided food, many have rescued people, many have helped in sending migrant workers home. It's a crisis that has really brought India closer together. We have two very special couples joining us on the broadcast. These are individuals who have done extraordinary work during the course of the lockdown. It's a privilege to have you with us on the broadcast. Rahul Roy, filmmaker. He's also founded the Gurgaon Nagrik Ekta Manch. Sabha Diwan is also a filmmaker and the founder. They're husband and wife who've been doing some exemplary work in Gurgaon. We'll talk a little more about that. We also have Shakti Khanna, who's a social worker, and we have Naveen with us as well. They've been working with railway children, rescuing and feeding children in need. But let me begin by asking you, Sabha Diwan, if I can begin by asking you, how difficult has this time been? We know that the Gurgaon Nagrik Ekta Manch has been doing a lot of work over a period of time, but this has been, the lockdown period has been particularly difficult. What's the kind of work that you've done in these very difficult circumstances?
Well, it's been a very difficult time for everyone, but especially for the workers in Gurgaon. As you know, that Gurgaon is an industrial hub with a lot of industries. And, the workers here are mostly all migrants. In fact, they're all migrants.
Yes.
And then they are the daily wages. For them, the lockdown has been a nightmarish experience. They were stranded. There was overnight, their employment was gone. They were not earning anything, and they had no food. If they were not earning anything, there was no food. And that's where Gurgaon Nagrik Ekta Manch, we decided to chip in, to contribute whatever we could, and to help in whichever way we could. So we started running these community kitchens to provide cooked meals to daily wagers. And besides that, we also began providing dry ration kits to families across the district of Gurgaon.
All right. It's a difficult time. It's also been a very emotional time for a lot of people to see the pain and suffering of so many around you. I want to ask you, Rahul Roy, if I can bring you in, how important is it to do this together? We have two couples on the show. It's very heartening to see. How important is it to support each other while, of course, you continue to do the work that you do? How important is that support?
See, now, to be honest, it's not just the two of us. We are just one.
Of course, yes.
Two of us who are part of a very large network of people who work within Gurgaon Nagrik Ekta Manch. But yes, of course, the fact is that we are all locked in. And, to be able to actually have an everyday conversation, to have that, to share those thoughts, to share ideas, to see how one can move forward, what one can do, what the interventions can be.
Yes.
Now, obviously, that's to have someone right next to you who you can always reach out to and speak with about, the work is a huge advantage.
All right. Let me now go across to Shakti and Naveen. Naveen, if I can begin by asking you, you've also been, distributing dry ration to a lot of families, but you've also been working with reuniting families. So, reuniting street children with families. The scope of the work that you do goes beyond just providing immediate relief, doesn't it? Mr. Naveen, can you hear me? All right, we're going to try and reconnect with both Naveen and Shakti. I believe we have a bit of a audio trouble there. But let me come back to Sabha Diwan and Rahul Roy. Then, Sabha, if I can come back and ask you, many people have, of course, come out and extended support. Many have donated to various charitable organizations, in trying to get, in trying to participate in doing some kind of good. I want to understand from you, in a pandemic, in a situation where, people fear for their own lives, how difficult has it been to mobilize support? Are people ready and willing to step out of the comfort of their own homes to help people?
It's been amazing, actually. I mean, it still overwhelms me to see the kind of giving that people are capable, and of. And whenever we have, our entire operation has depended upon volunteers. Volunteers who went out with the cooked food into the areas wherever the daily wages lived, to distribute those cooked meals. And then volunteers in the distribution team who drove out with the dry ration kits.
Right.
And whenever we've made a call, we've got an overwhelming response. So in that sense, and this entire, Gurgaon Nagrik Ekta Manch,
Yes.
the relief operation would not have been possible without all these,
Volunteers.
squads of volunteers.
But Rahul
coming in.
Roy, tell me something. As people who mobilize support, as people who bring volunteers together, I'm sure it plays on your mind the safety of your volunteers on the field, the safety of you and your wife as you step out on the field. Have you taken unprecedented measures? What are the kind of measures that you've taken while you go out, you distribute food, you meet hundreds of people on a daily basis? What are the extraordinary measures that you have to take in these circumstances?
See, before coming to that, just to give you a sense of the scale that we are dealing with, so that
Sure.
you can understand the safety procedures. See, we've been distributing about 30,000 meals every day, and at least we've distributed more than 25,000 ration kits across the district. So, which means that we've distributed about 20 lakh meals from the beginning of the lockdown, and we've given ration kits which have provided food security to more than 1 lakh people.
Yes.
I'm just saying that to tell you that, look, there's a huge base of volunteers who are involved in this.
Right.
And so obviously right from the beginning, the safety of everyone who was out was very, very important for us.
Right.
And we had, in consultation with doctors, to begin with, when the threat wasn't that extreme, we had a whole set of procedures.
We are back.
Then, things started opening up and the threat became much more. We've added PPE material for all the volunteers who are going out.
Okay.
So face shields, masks.
So you have to take, extraordinary measures have to be taken, at a time like this, because it is an extraordinary situation that we're dealing with. But I believe we have Shakti and Naveen back with us on the broadcast. Naveen, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Dish.
Hi,
Yeah,
sorry, we lost the connection with you. But Naveen, tell us a little bit about Railway Children. Like I was saying, you go beyond just providing immediate relief. You and your wife have both been doing some stellar work. Tell us about it.
Yes, Rishika. So Railway Children is an organization which has been working at railway stations since almost more than 20 years. And we rescue children who are found at railway stations alone and at risk and help them get back to the family. And where family is not possible, restore them with long care home where they can stay and go to full potential. And especially during this situation triggered by lockdown, we called up all those families and children whom we have reunified in the past 3 years, because we were very well aware that majority of them were from families of daily wage laborers or landless laborers in rural areas. And as we feared, almost until now, we have connected with 7,000 odd families.
Right.
And 900 of them told us that they were in extreme distress. So our first action was to make sure that they get a dry ration kit, so that they're able to sustain.
I asked this question to Rahul and Sabha as well, and I want to ask you, Shakti, how important is it for you to do this together? How important, of course, I'm sure you too have a volunteer base. There must be a lot of people associated with your movement, but to have each other and to be able to support each other, through the stellar work that you're doing. Tell us about your contribution.
Absolutely. So I have a large base of my friends, so I requested them, and they have supported Railway Children in providing the dry ration kits or providing the funds, to do this work. Another thing that we did is we have encouraged our neighbors actually to and also ourselves, and we have been paying our maid, our cleaners and everybody, and we have been ensuring that. and through Railway Children, they have been also doing providing the support in the Shramik trains actually.
Right.
Naveen,
Yeah, so almost around 12,000 people who have boarded Shramik trains in past 10 days. So we were able to reach out to them and provide them food, water, and other essentials that they would require for those long journeys to make sure that at least there's a bit of comfort that they would have while they are traveling those long distances.
Right.
And also coming back to those families whom we were connecting with. Slowly, what we're experiencing is that as the lockdown is extended, the number of families earlier said that we are managing, we have a savings, are also losing their savings slowly, and when we are following them up now,
has the situation on the ground improved? Rahul, Roy, if I can very briefly bring you in, I have a minute left on the show. Has the situation on the ground improved as we get into Unlock 1.0? What's your assessment?
No, it's getting worse actually. The point is that the distress as far as food security is concerned is still there. As far as the jobs are concerned, it's mostly underemployment or partial employment, and a lot of people have left for their native homes.
That's true.
And the threat of COVID looms really is much larger now.
Yes.
So that is there too.
It's very disheartening to know that the situation on the ground is actually only deteriorating. The cases are continuing to rise. But look, on the brighter side, there are people like the four of you on the show this evening. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you for the service that you're doing on behalf of the entire team here at NDTV, on behalf of the entire country, really. Thank you to people like yourselves for the work that you're doing, and more power to you. Thank you so much for being with us this evening.
Thank you,
Thank you, Rishika.
That's all we have time for. That's all we could pack in. Thank you so much for watching.